So a really fun thing happened to me probably about 3 years ago now. It was at a time when I was really pressing in to ask God for more prophetic clarity, and I was asking God for words of knowledge and names and more specific details about people and prophetic words I gave. And I woke up one morning and I was lying in bed and I saw a clear picture in my mind, on my mind's eye, of a woman with long blonde hair sitting in a restaurant. And so I pressed in a little bit further and I thought I heard the name very clearly, Angela. And I was quite excited at the time because I was going to be going out that day to meet a friend in a restaurant. And so I thought, oh, I know exactly what's going to happen. I'm going to go to this restaurant and there's going to be a woman there and she'll have long blonde hair, and I'm going to walk across and I'm going to go and say to her, hi, is your name Angela? And because that being the word of knowledge, I thought. And then she'd say, oh, how did you know? And then the Lord would give me the rest of the word and I would prophesy over it. So anyway, I went out to the restaurant with this friend of mine, and sure enough, a couple of tables away, there's a lady with long blonde hair. And I mustered up all my courage and I walked across. I said, sorry, I know this might sound strange, but is your name Angela by any chance? And she looked at me and she went, no. Why? And I kind of went, I thought I recognized you from somewhere, which was true. I thought I recognized her from my picture at that morning. So I said, never mind. And I went and sat down and explained to my friend that I'd just taken a swing for the fence and missed. But I noticed on the other side of the restaurant, there was another woman with long blonde hair. So I thought, oh, maybe it was her. I just missed which woman it was. So with a little bit less confidence this time, I walked across. I said, excuse me, is your name Angela? And this time, the woman looked at me and went, no, why? So I said, never mind. I thought I recognized you from somewhere, and went back and told my friend, okay, well, obviously I misheard that one or saw that one, and decided, okay, well, we're not playing that game again. And got up, paid the bill, walked out. And as I'm walking out the mall, I notice in a second restaurant, in a different restaurant, I look across the restaurant and there's a woman with long blonde hair. And I thought, okay, what the heck, I'm just going to go for it again. And taking risk and everything, and walked across, asked the lady, excuse me, is your name Angela? And again, this was not Angela. So now I'm walking up thinking, what the heck, Lord? This thing with, Angela, I mean, where is Angela? And I pretty much firmly decided, that's it, not doing that again. But you know what, it's amazing that it kind of got stuck into my head. And so I'm walking past another restaurant the next day, and all of a sudden, women in restaurants with long blonde hair just are standing out to me. And so I went and asked, and this went on for weeks actually. I think I did it for about a week and a half. I was walking past restaurants, and it's extraordinary how many women with long blonde hair in restaurants in Cape Town are not called Angela. And I think I did it 30 times. 30 times I took a risk and went for this. And finally, after about the 30th time, which was just the worst, I went across to this woman in a restaurant, and she was with a friend, and I said, excuse me, is your name Angela? And the friend was so excited, she went, and she goes, no, but why? What is this? Is this some kind of blind date or something? And I looked at these ladies and said, nah, it's a long story, and just went back to my table where my family were waiting for me. I said, okay, that's it, I'm done. I've obviously missed this, not looking for Angela anymore. Anyway, that night, I was at a Bible school on the other side of town, and I had just finished speaking, and people got up to start sharing testimonies. And a woman gets up, and she's wearing a beanie kind of hat, so I can't see her hair. And she introduces herself saying, hi, my name is Angela. And I had become so sensitive to the name Angela, I was immediately like, Angela, here is Angela. And my first thought was, I wonder what kind of hair she's got. Anyway, she shared her testimony. I can't remember what the testimony was, but she started walking back to her table, and she takes her hat off, and these long blonde locks fall down her back. And I think, Angela, long blonde hair. And then I thought, well, what's the word of knowledge? So I went over to her and I said, excuse me, are you by any chance involved in the restaurant business? And she said, yes, I am. How do you know? And then the Lord gave me an amazing prophetic word for her about some things that God had for her in the future. And she acted on the prophetic word that God had given her. And about a year later, she called me to come and be the guest speaker at a school that she'd started in the restaurant business to train people for as baristas. And the prophetic word actually went on to give her the impetus and the courage to build a coffee barista school that has actually now, they've had 5 graduations and over probably about 40-50 people who were previously unemployed got skills, got jobs, and their lives have been changed, all out of 30 failed attempts to find Angela. One of the things that it taught me is I realized that what I'd done was I had assumed I knew exactly what the prophetic word was. I'd assumed the context. So I thought the word of knowledge was the name, but in actual fact, the word of knowledge was the restaurant. And I had over-interpreted and I hadn't lent in and said, okay, Lord, how do you want to deal with this word? Why are you telling me this? And maybe if I had lent in, the Lord would have told me, just wait, you're going to meet Angela. And it would have been less embarrassing. But it was a huge learning curve. Well, the graduation ceremony was really moving because I got to meet a whole bunch of people who, I mean, some of them from their testimonies, they had been sitting at home just with practically no home. And they were living in an informal settlement here in Cape Town. And in some of them just in shacks, no way of earning an income or a living. And as a result of being invited to partake in this barista school, not only did it give them a skill, it just shaped their whole view of themselves, of who God thought of them and everything, and it literally changed their lives. And so when I was invited to be the first guest speaker at our first graduation, and to hear Angela's story of how she had implemented the prophetic word that I'd given her, and then the story of the people who'd gone through the school, it made the embarrassment of 30 failed attempts of looking for Angela's, desperately seeking Angela. It made it worth it, because I'd go through that embarrassment again and again and again and again in order to see those people's lives change. So it was a really moving experience just to see how God can take even our mistakes and our failures and He can turn them into something beautiful.